Good morning, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network, brought to you by Hemisphere Coffee. They shake the hands of the farmer, and also by Sherry's Licorice. And you can see scrolling down their websites for you to place your orders. Sherry's Licorice. Type in the promo code ELVES Network 15, you'll get a 15% discount on orders of $25 or more. Okay, well, let's talk about what happened yesterday. First of all, I'll get to the game. And then after the break, we'll get to Watson. But the first thing was Shedeur looked good. He did. I was very impressed. My wife, Karen, who is a Browns fan by default, and it's my fault. She knows more football than most men do. And yes, she does. Actually said while they were playing, she goes, man, he actually looks like an NFL quarterback, because she watched the Bears game with me. And I agreed with her. 2 drives. The interception was unfortunate, but you can look at it 2 ways. One, he did throw behind him, but 2, he's throwing to a tight end that's probably not even going to make the roster or the practice squad. What bothered me is Floria was open just past. If you go back and look at the interception, he was crossing into the end zone with nobody on him. And Sanders did stare down his receiver. He did what Watson normally does. He stared down his receiver. So, but, young kid, learning moment. And like I said, should the tight end have caught it? Yes, he should have. Is that tight end going to be on the roster? No, he isn't. He's probably not even going to make the practice squad, to be perfectly honest with you. But up to that point, he looked really, really good. Decisive, calm in the pocket. I was very impressed. That was a improvement from the first game. Then came the 2-minute drill before the half. Man. Oh, he did not look good at all. And then that led to a 3-and-out, and Buffalo getting the punt and then scoring. So, he had his moments. I think there were more good than bad, but still, he's, like I said, he's showing improvement. You've got to give him credit. He's learning. Then came Watson, and that was a debacle, like in epic proportions. Like the Chicago games, Watson is as good as the skill positions around him. In the Chicago game, as when they went from first team to second team, first team he was good, second team awful, and he was awful. He just was. Watson is not going to improve. Okay, 30-year-old vet, 10-year veteran. He's going to stay the same. He's making the same mistakes. He stare downs his wide receiver. When he's about to tuck and run, he drops his head. So defense knows, and he overthrows or underthrows. I agree with Denzel Boston after that underthrow. The NFL Network flashed to sidelines, and Denzel Boston just shaking his head. I agree. All in all, let's talk about the game. The good. I thought Michael Coates, very good. I love that kid. Tyler Hall. Where did Andrew Berry find this guy, and why isn't he playing more? He was very good. Donovan McMillan and safety, he's made this team. Michael Hall at defensive end. Yes, please keep him there. They still need some depth at defensive line. They need to find a veteran. Cut down day is coming next week. I fully expect Andrew Berry to sign a couple defensive linemen. I think linebacker, they're all right. Safety, now that I've seen McMillan have an extended period of playing, he's fine. Linebacker, fine. Nathaniel Watson and Winston Reed, they both made the roster after that game. They played very good. Cornerback. I'd like to see more of Tyler Hall, to be honest with you. Michael Coates is fine. We know Denzel Ward and Campbell are going to be fine. But I'd like to see more of Tyler Hall. He played very well. But they still need defensive line depth. As for the number 2 offensive line that started the game, I thought they did well. Sure, Zach Zinter had a couple holding. The first one, I don't think so. I'll get to officiating here in a minute, but I don't think so. Second one, yeah, he deserved it. But all in all, Luke Whippler looked good. At that point, KT Livingston looked good, but then he got worse in the second half. I like the move of Austin Barber to guard. He's got a little bit of a mean streak in him, which I like. He's a little nasty. That's what you want your guards. You're in your center and your guards. That's what you want. You want to be a little nasty. I thought DeJuan Jones played well at right tackle. So I thought the number 2 offensive line did well. Special teams, my big concern always, too many penalties, too many blocking the back, and you could see them happen. But then the officiating wasn't the greatest in the world. I saw Buffalo do not only a block in the back, but a block in the back plus a holding on the Browns player running down the field. I mean, he was all over him. What's up with I thought you couldn't hit a quarterback in the head. I don't get that. They totally missed that. And instead they call a hold, which wasn't a hold, on Zach Zinter. And then the out of bounds play, when they started their 2-minute drill, they threw a little screen, running back out of bounds. Obviously, Bills players hit him. That should have been a personal foul. If we're going to start having the referees against the Browns in preseason, it's going to be a long season. I know they signed a new contract, but all in all, they still need a little depth defensively. So, yeah, something also happened to Joe Flacco in that Jets game where they clinched the playoff, and they didn't call it then either. So it's not just Shador. It totally missed it. I know they're in preseason, and the officials say, well, we're working things out too. This guy actually slapped him in the head. That's roughing the passer. I'm sorry. It is. I don't care who it happens to. It's roughing the passer. So all in all, of course, the game got out of hand later. And it's going to be like that. Trey Avery, you need to be gone. I've seen enough after 2 games. That touchdown for the half was all on him. I'm not sure about KT Livingston. If they're going to move Austin Barber to guard, then you might need Livingston as backup. I thought, like I said, I thought DeJuan Jones solidified his spot as the swing tackle on this team. They need another tackle if they're going to move Austin Barber to guard. So maybe they might sign a guard, cut down. That way Austin Barber can play guard and tackle. But I don't know about KT Livingston. I called for him to get rid of him last year. They brought him back. I like the idea of him as a guard. He failed miserably in the second half of the Chicago game. And the second half of the Buffalo game, he didn't help himself at all. So those are 2 players I would consider getting rid of. So all in all, you really can't. It's a preseason game, and Corley apparently got hurt. The wide receiver, McCall Corey. I love the Wilson, who was returning punts. Who is this kid? Why haven't I heard about him? He looked really good. But I can't keep just a punt returner. They also have to be a wide receiver. Tillman, I think, is pretty much gone too. So, all in all, I'm glad the NFL Network took it off the air before Dylan Gabriel came in. I live in Nashville, so that I had to rely on them. And they took it off the air. I don't really think I wanted to see that. If they had put in Taylor Green, I'd love to have seen that. So let's take a break. Okay. Deshaun Watson. Here is the dilemma with Deshaun Watson. They cannot cut him. They have to keep him on the roster. Unfortunately. They have to. If you cut him, and Jack Duffin, who knows more about salary cap than I do, and I know a lot about it, put out a good article this morning, great article this morning, on why you can cut him, but you're going to totally blow up 2027. And basically, if you cut him now, your dead cap for this year, for 2027 would. Not this year. 2027 would be 36 million. That's manageable. For 2028, the dead cap would be 51.5. If they cut him this year, that 51.5 dead cap would cut their spending by $20 million. In other words, they're probably going to have around 25 million to carry over into next year. But if they cut him this year, that limits their spending for 2027 to the point where probably the only thing the team can spend money on is their draft picks. And they might struggle to do that. That's it. No free agents, nothing, no extensions, nothing. So if you want to cut Deshaun Watson right now, 2027 is going to be like last year. They'll be lucky to win 3 to 5 games because they won't have any money to spend. You got to understand how the salary cap works. They can't cut him and put him on the practice squad because they would be cutting him, and that entire money they owe him would come up right now. Same scenario. They can't send him home. Now, the news conference he had afterwards put Todd Monken in a terrible situation. So far, Coach Monken has been extremely honest. He was extremely honest after this game. It was shitty football. And he said so. I love it. But he's in a dilemma now with Deshaun Watson. And I think the news conference kind of helped him out. He's an older coach who believes that he can get the best out of a veteran. He feels that a veteran quarterback knows more than a second-year quarterback, and he could get the best out of him. The problem is Deshaun Watson is the same quarterback he was 2 years ago when he went 1-7 as a starter. He's not that good. He's mediocre at best. This team, Monken wanted Shedeur Sanders to earn the starting position. Did they start Spencer Fano at left tackle in training camp? No, they didn't. Did they start Denzel Boston as the ex-wide receiver? No, they didn't. They wanted them to earn it, and they stepped up and earned it. They are now starters because they earned it in training camp. So far, Shedeur has not done that. But you got to think that right now, Todd Monken is thinking to himself, I can't put that kid, Deshaun Watson, I can't put him back on the field. Not even for a preseason game next Thursday against the New England Patriots. I just can't do it. He just can't do it. I don't know what they're probably going to do. I mean, he didn't really say, I wish Deshaun had just gone off on the organization. If he had just exploded and said, this is the crappiest organization in the world, they could have suspended him. They could have. Detrimental to the team. Andrew Berry could have called his agent and said, we got to suspend him. Boom. Problem solved. He's suspended for a while. They're not going to find an injury on him. Jack Duffin wrote, he just wishes they could do anything to put him on IR. I do too. That would be great. But he's stuck on this team. He's stuck on the roster. They can do what Houston did in 2021. Keep him on the roster and just not play him. Make him ineligible every week. But he's taking up a roster spot. I would rather have the number 5 defensive end or the number 5 corner, because they're going to keep 5 of each, taken up by someone who will actually might help the team win, then let that roster spot be taken up by a guy who's going to be probably sitting in his living room watching the game on TV. But they can't do anything about it. So I don't care what they say tomorrow in the media. He cannot be cut. Okay, he's got to stay on the roster for 2026. He has to. If you want this team to succeed in coming years, especially next year in 2027, when they'll probably be, if you take the estimate, with salary cap, they'll probably be 40, and what they might be able to carry over in the next year, they'll be $49 million under the cap next year, which means in cash spending, they'll be spending about 60 something million dollars, 69 million, because they always spend more in upfront cash than any other team. They're always top 5. So if you want to cut him, you are prolonging the crappiness of this team till 2028. Remember, like I said Thursday night, 3/11/27, March 11th, 2027, Deshaun Watson will be gone. The Cleveland Browns will have 11 draft picks, and they will be $49 million under the cap. That's what we're shooting for. God, I just wish he'd said something more stupid than he said yesterday. I just wish he did just rip the Cleveland Browns. Because if he had, they could suspend him. So, Browns are stuck with Watson. He's going to take up a roster spot. It's obvious they're going to have to get rid of Dylan Gabriel. That was a waste of time. I would rather have seen Taylor Green in that game. Hopefully, he'll get to play a little bit against New England. I know the caution for him. I mean, the kid's got a hell of an arm. He's athletic as hell. He's developmental. Don't throw him out there in front of another team and ruin him. They have a Watson problem. They've had a Watson problem. But they're going to have to, unfortunately, they're going to have to keep him on the team. I don't want it. And I don't want to see him as the starter. I think that news conference really helped Todd Monken make his decision. I think just by what he said will convince Todd Monken that there's no improving Deshaun Watson. He is what he is. He's what he is 2 years ago, a mediocre quarterback. I don't care if he's a veteran. You can't waste this team's time starting Deshaun Watson. I'm not, Shedeur still has his problems, but you have to start him. You got to know what you got. I mean, next year's quarterback class can be good. before the season started, after seeing the schedule, I said this team could have the potential to win basement floor 7 games. I'm looking at 5 right now. 5, 6 if they get lucky. The offensive line, I think the starting offensive line looks good enough. By the way, they're going to get some players back this week from injuries. That's always good. Schlesinger, Judkins, those kind of guys. I really think Todd Monken's going to announce that Sanders is going to be the starter. Ty goes to the young guy. Against New England, I think he'll play some starters, which is always good. But they're stuck with Deshaun Watson for one more year. He's going to take a roster spot. Unless he gets hurt or he says something completely stupid. I mean, what he said yesterday was stupid. Disingenuous keeps coming to my mind. Yeah, the fans are going to boo you. He thinks they're booing him because of his off-the-field stuff. There are people in the stands who are doing that. But they are booing him because he's not good. Browns fans are smarter than that. They see bad football, they're going to boo. And I don't blame him. He's a bad football player. He really is. He's not an NFL starting quarterback. So hopefully tomorrow, Todd Monken, for the sake of the team, the locker room, will announce that Shedeur Sanders is the starter. I noticed when they showed on the broadcast, Jerry Jeudy constantly sitting by Shedeur Sanders. I like to see that. That's good on Judy's part. I think he knows who's going to be the starter, and I think we all know who's going to be the starter. And even though he hasn't taken it by the reins and just grabbed it from Deshaun Watson, you got to start Shedeur Sanders. Nobody wants to see Deshaun Watson start for the Cleveland Browns. Nobody. It's a waste of time. I want to thank everybody for joining me today on the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. No, they're not going to find a veteran quarterback either. Some people, I have to add this right here before I go. Jameis Winston ain't coming. Giants like him in their quarterback room. Shane Rattler, no thank you. Go back and look at the way he played last year. He never had a game over 250 yards. The guy with the 49ers, I can't think of his name right now. They're going to keep him. They want 2 second-round picks. So they're not going to find a veteran to come in. They looked, but nobody wanted to come here. Nobody wanted to come here to Cleveland. They wanted too much money, and thank God they didn't spend a lot of money. Yesterday was an example of why they needed to get a veteran, but they couldn't get one in here. So, again, this has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. Thank you for listening, watching, following, and subscribing to us. We're just Browns fans like you, and I am just as frustrated as you are, but I'll deal with reality and know that this is it. This is the last year Watson will be on this roster. Remember, March 11th, 2027, he will be gone. That's the last day. So, everyone, have a great day, and as always, go Browns.